4:47 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, August 30th, 2021, Monday. Let's see some topics I have to talk about because we're closer to other things than what I've been seeing in the news these days. People are trying to survive any which way they can. Sometimes they have a problem and make it political. But in certain circumstances, living on the streets is no political head game. It is pure survival. This is not a video concerning about discovery of homelessness or the revelation of it. I've already walked it already. Not fun. I think a while ago I talked about having experiences in food lines. How to get through them. It's not easy. Even doing some of the other dirtier, nastier stuff that people usually pick on people for. In some cases, vultures and carrions are, they do the dirty work. Creatures that nature has provided that recycle things in the earth. Sometimes humans have to do the same thing ourselves. But not just because it's good to the planet, it's good to the pocketbook for survival. People don't even understand half the time is when you're out there in the streets and you're trying to get a bite to eat or at least a bottle of drink. You do anything and everything you can to get the money available. And that includes going through people's garbage at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And scour the streets beyond it. Trying to get every last can and bottle that someone else has tossed out. Once in a while, in this town, I'll see the usual same shuffling people with garbage bags, knapsacks, or even carts to haul away recyclables that they've already dumpster-dived for. You can chagrin at this one here. You can grimace and make your snide remarks about that one, but unless you've already been there, I advise you not to do it unless you've already been through it. I've been through it. Have fun. Running for money. You gotta do what you gotta do for survival. Cans and bottles are worth something. Recycling. And sometimes we get too much of a glut and the market falls off. And if there's not enough business to keep a recycling place going, there are tendencies of doing shutdowns to save their businesses one way or another. Especially out here in Roseland. We have about 3 or 4 recycling places out here. I think we actually bring in the cans and bottles off the street. One particular corporation about 4 years ago pulled out, which left 2 or 3 others to pick up the pace. Because of the COVID hitting everybody these days. It's changed a lot of the marketing strategies and the glut for recycling. Sometimes the prices aren't so good. The thing of it is, going through cans, bottles, get that extra penny. It's a survival mode. You go through different garbage cans all around, including hitting your neighbors. Embarrassing as it is, but at this point, survival is all it is. Did you hear what they say? You need the money. You need the money. There are laws out there that ordinances that theoretically prevent people from doing such a thing, but we do it anyway because we survive. They don't like it because some of the people toss the trash around all over the place. They're not clean enough, neat enough. They don't care whatever happens. They care about what they want, which is getting that extra bottle or can. When you're on survival mode, you're not thinking about cleanliness, or you're not thinking about neatness, or being polite. Every can, every bottle that's being used, someone else's hands, you're waiting for that thing to drop, and then you claim it. Unless, of course, the other person happens to claim it himself or herself. But it doesn't happen that way. Go along the sides of the roads out here, you'll see some people dropping change, which is a godsend. Or along the stretch between the base and Rosemont, you have to watch out for the critters out there. Snakes, lizards, coyotes, scorpions. But all in all, it's just to get the stuff necessary. It's embarrassing to talk about to people, unless they've already been through it already. And then even worse, because we already know how it is. We don't need to tell anybody else about it. A quick 1 or 2 second glance, and we already know the information we need. Growing up, we were taught how to recycle stuff. Have these huge bins to put stuff in. Make the world a clean place. Don't throw your trash out because it'll be winding up everywhere else. Watching those environmental commercial films and stuff. Sometimes they paid off, and other times the people didn't listen. And then it kind of pissed other people off that when you saw the people going through garbage cans. Sometimes not for food, but just for recyclables. Still get yelled at. Probably from the same people who have actually put the stuff there in the first place. It's trash, man. It's trash. Don't do that, man. You gonna use that bottle? No, it's just trash. See, that's the thing in our culture at this point over here. We look at things as throwaways, including human beings. All the situations get even worse and worse in every city around the world, actually. Out here in the United States, even California, it's even getting worse. Well, we have to have ordinances to keep people away from certain areas and certain regions because the aesthetics, property values. What's the area look like? And if the area is going to be sanitary or not. The park had to be reclaimed in the past several months, within the past several months, actually. And had to have fencing around it to make sure it was cleaned and sterilized. Prior to that, we had people living over there for about over a year or two, trying to survive. COVID kicked a hell of a lot of people out, but there was also people living over there. Before the COVID kicked in, before COVID reared its ugly head, we had people living all over the place, different areas, 10 cities, 10 communities, different places that you wouldn't even expect. Some are nice, others are not so nice. Residents and businesses complained about it to their councils, and councils turned out ordinances and depended upon police to push those who didn't have aside. All those times I kept calling them have and have-nots. Because unless they knew what the hell a have-not is, they really wouldn't know that being have. you have a roof over the head, you have a job, you have income coming in, and you take it for granted. When you lose a job and you're scrambling for more, you can't find it, things get harder and harder to keep. Last thing that goes is the roof. It's bad enough that some of those people actually end up in homeless situations, living in cars, taking their belongings out the street, getting locked out. Been through it. Had fun. It's not supposed to be fun. You're in survival mode. You're not thinking about fun or adventures or anything else like that. You're thinking about when's your next meal? Where are you going to get shelter at? And also, who do you trust? Because on the streets, you can't trust anybody. No matter how nice they be. I don't know if they're going to be backstabbing you in the ass. But even as a community, you still try to trust each other to a point. Not to backstab each other. People have talked about this damn thing for decades. Some people actually had solutions for them, others didn't. They really didn't know how to deal with it. They really couldn't understand or grasp the scope of it. I mean, how many times you kept doing census readings on people every year? Go out there, get a count of how many people you got to deal with, roughly estimate them, and then try to find what kind of resources you have to stretch out to anorexia, to take care of them. It gets worse and worse every year. The pyramid on top is shrinking. And they keep screaming and yelling at the people down below because they don't want to deal with the people down below. I think they're really realizing they're too damn afraid of becoming one of those people. I hear the cries all the damn time. Not in my backyard, not in my backyard. I've read them. I've read the papers. I've heard from the other people left and right. We want our freedom. We want our liberty. We want. Yet those who want that kind of stuff are ending up on the streets. Through fault of their own. I did say that. Other circumstances are not their fault. But some choices they make actually lead up to what they do. So in essence, they still got to take responsibility for their actions. My situation, disastrous decision made out of pure anger and spite to screw things up. You're trying to keep a roof over the head. We should have just made protest, but tried to pay as much as we could. Show of good faith. Instead, we put the court system through a test. And at the time I was living with my brother, we came out short. We got kicked out, we got locked out. Lost a lot of our stuff. Stuff we grew up with, stuff we held for a hell of a long while. We grew up, we inherited actually from other generations. And it's embarrassing to talk about it. We appeal to the other family members, we appeal to other people, but well, no avail. Dependent upon the kindness of strangers. Sold some of the stuff, but it didn't help. Still got kicked out. Living out of a U-Haul truck, that's on a limited basis, limited time basis. Extending it even further to what I should not have been. And then have to live on the streets. We're lucky enough that we actually found a motel room. And we looked at, because my brother had the special circumstance of being a vet, that Salvation Army and a veterans group took pity upon us. And through the charity of others, we actually had a roof over the head for a short time until there was an apartment available for my brother. The same one I'm still living in right now. Long story on that one too. Some days I am grateful and other days I'm not grateful for it. And the thing of it is, every time I keep seeing those homeless shelters on the news and reading about them in the paper and actually seeing it in front of my eyes, has to make me more and more appreciative of what I have right now. Not just the things to occupy and what's left over of things, but at least having a roof over the head and still having money coming in to pay the rent, bills, keep the light on, clothes, food. You have to be aware of the blessings that you have right now, because if you happen to lose sight of that, it's easy enough to fall into the trap. And it's easy enough to go out there and be counted as worthless. That's what you are considered to the elite. Those who have consider you worthless. And here's the thing. You could be one of those people that fall from the grace of the pyramid there. I've seen that happen too. I've heard it. Going into county areas for life support, going to food giveaways, and listening to people talk, hearing the first timers and first comers who are unsure about the system itself, and they're freaked out about people laughing and joking. They're still angry about the system itself, but they're still surviving. But they're laughing and having a community powwow of some kind. Getting together with friends who are surviving. They're all struggling to survive. Other people can't appreciate that. They haven't been through it long enough. They haven't been through it, period, to understand it. And when they have, their eyes are opened. Sometimes with disgust, and other times with the realization that, my God, this might become permanent. Despite the fact and the assurances that you have from the other support groups saying that this won't be permanent, sometimes it can be. That's why I'm appreciative of what's been happening these days. It's not easy to talk about these things because it's bragging, it's ego, it's feeding an image. You shouldn't be talking about these kind of things. Well, it should be talked about. I know a lot of advocates out there who've actually lived among them and tried to use the system necessary for the homeless survival. And other people just don't want to listen to it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the stories. They don't want to hear the stories about some person coming from the rich end, ending up dirt poor, looking for pennies on the ground. Pennies on the ground. People just juggling around with their pockets, and sometimes there's a hole in there and there goes some change. Maybe nothing for that other person, but for the ones looking up, it's survival. Or even when you have to dumpster dive for the first time and you're looking for cans and bottles, you already know how to recycle cans and bottles. You've been told that one, you've been taught that one. But when you have to put yourself through that situation for the first time, you have to really put it in practice, and then go through every can that you can, every trash receptacle you can. It's embarrassing as hell. You get people yelling at you from time to time, or you'll have other people ignore you like crazy. Sometimes it happens. You'll be ignored. Oh, okay, well, good deal. Good one. It usually takes one or two idiots or loudmouths out there. Yeah, one time I did. At one time I was like one of those loudmouths out there. I have to admit to myself. Because I didn't like to see what was going on in front of me. I didn't want them here. I had forgotten what it was like coming from the streets, even for a short time. It's not easy to talk about things like this because sometimes karma has a way of biting in the ass, and it bites me in the ass. It's not that easy to come in and using food stamps for food. And the merchants these days are taking them like credit cards or debit cards, no problem. Just slide it through there, punch your number, get your grub, and get the hell out. They still want your business, but get the hell out. You can't use your food card unless you have some cash aid on it in order to get you some breakfast at McDonald's or something. And for some people who actually see the homeless coming to McDonald's with whatever money they got to get something to eat over there, or at least a cup of coffee, that pisses off a lot of people over there. Not the people working behind the counters. They're still customers. No, it's the ones we're eating over there, seeing a shabbily looking person trying to enjoy a meal. I've seen that poor person being picked on too many damn times. It's not the easiest damn thing to talk about. Once you've had a taste of it, you really, really don't want to go back, and you really, really want to do everything else you can to get the damn thing in the first place. That's sometimes how it goes when you bounce back up. Now, either you're empathetic about it, or you're closed every which way. People hardly ever talk about it these days on camera. Unless, of course, we're at rallies or any of the major things like this, but doing videos like this. A successful person talking about their past like this, why not? It happened. It happened to me. I don't like it. I don't like going to counties. Yeah. Certain portions of my life, at certain times of my life, when I had to go to a county to beg and plead and borrow to get just a few extra bucks for survival, and also some food grub. But I have to go through the mountain paperwork and have to continue to sign paperwork. If I was lucky enough, if I was able to work, I'd be put on the work program. Go look for work. Go through this class. Look dressed, look professional. Beg, borrow, steal the damn clothing if you have to, but look like you're a professional. And then maybe, just maybe, you'll pass with a damn piece of paper that says that you passed with a piece of paper. And you're still in the same damn situation. You still haven't got the damn job. I know, been there, done that. Not the stealing part, but begging and borrowing like crazy and going through it. Getting a piece of paper saying I just got a piece of paper, graduating from a damn program from a county. It gets even worse is when you have first name basis, or practically the first name basis going on with staff over there. You go there long enough and they start to know you more and more. They don't want to know you more and more. But if they do, then you've got to be one of those kind of habitual people over there that just can't either get work or refuse to get work or not able to get work. And if you happen to sign up for the damn Social Security, which takes about a few years, for some will actually hire attorneys, you can actually get it maybe quickly enough if they actually get enough to get money taken out of the damn Social Security for them. But it takes time. Meanwhile, you're using up everything you can through the county just to stay alive. No, it's not easy to talk about stuff like this. It's not fun talking about stuff like this. But I'm reminded of stuff like this because nobody else talks about it. Except on the news medias when they want to make some kind of splash and they want to make ratings for their damn shows. They want to show you the damn problem, but do they show the constant solutions for it, except the aggravation happening and the conflict between the haves and have-nots in council meetings or in the streets, or showing what's going on as lives are being torn apart left and right one way or another. But talking about like this, a video, and being presented out there, are you kidding me? Maybe if you're lucky, but for me, hardly anybody talks about this crap. Nobody wants to talk about this crap. It's the most embarrassing damn thing in our lives. It's like, oh my God, don't do that. It's a terrible thing to talk about. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about how to get through a system. It's not fun. It's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be survival. That's all it is survival. You may not like to hear about it, you may not like to know about it, but this is it. When you get kicked out of a place for whatever reason, you have survival instincts going to be kicking in left and right. Unless, of course, you're so emotionally distraught that you're so unable to focus or fathom what the hell's going on. Sometimes you have to learn on the street. Sometimes you have to learn it the hard way. What's bad enough is when you have other people trying to teach it to you the hard way. And it's not that fun. I've seen the commercials that they've been putting out these days. Couples, families. This is not new. This has been ongoing for God knows how long. In civilized nations, the more we got more and more industrialized, the more homeless situations we got going on. The thing is, we've had it ongoing since the dawn of time. It just depends on which particular generation or civilization we're dealing with. We're dealing with the United States of America over the past 260 plus years. Or longer than that, ever since the creation of the colonies. Or when people actually set foot upon the new world and they have limited skills to use in order to survive. At least during that time, they actually had survival skills and they actually were able to go out there and hunt food. Grow the food. Hard times. But they struggled and they survived. Even with the help of a few friendly natives who didn't try to kill them, and the other people didn't try to kill each other. But these are not those kind of times. This is definitely not. When you have to wander around from city to city looking for food, or looking for a place to live, it's not the funnest thing to go through. It's not the easiest damn thing to go through. It's the most embarrassing, humiliating, humbling damn thing. Trade one particular, I would say, one shithole city for another. Whatever you could do to work, you have to work. Even if it means sweeping out a general store in some small town. Or doing gas tending things. Whatever, manual labor. You do what you can do for survival. Even in the big cities. The big cities, people gather more and more because they figure the county will have more resources for them to survive on. sometimes it's just not that obvious. It doesn't happen. You're stuck. You're stuck with it. I've seen it. With my own eyes. I've gotten through it. I'm not laughing about the damn thing. It's nothing to laugh about. You joke about the damn thing because you haven't been through the damn shit. But if you have, you'd nod your head in understanding. Even for the people my age and older than that, we feel like they've been shut out from different jobs and different employments. We felt like maybe somehow they're not able to do the work. And so they put on the wayside. Forced to watch everyone else try to struggle up that damn ladder. Just watch them fall on their ass. And it's the people down below who are watching them and laughing their asses off because we've been there. In life, when you're a young kid, you're encouraged to go get a paper route. Way back when. 7, 8, 9-year-olds encouraged to get paper routes. Or the child labor laws. Well, it's little and such over here. He's got a paper route. He's tossing papers. On his bike. You're the paper boy. Or paper girl. You learn responsibility. You learn how to wake up every single morning. Get your job done. Maybe the rest of the day, maybe you're lucky enough to work or actually do something else. Maybe you work before you go to school. The proverbial image. Some people will wake up in homeless shelters or homeless tents or even on the streets, not knowing whether or not the shoes or clothing are going to be on their body or not. Whether or not they're going to actually able to walk through a rough neighborhood just to get to school. Stomachs growling because you haven't had anything to eat. You haven't found anything tasty enough out of the damn garbage can. And if you have a school lunch program, maybe if they're generous, they'll give you something to eat in the morning to keep you from passing out. Some schools actually do have food accounts. Parents will have to put in money for the food. And the homeless or people in poverty don't even have that luxury or option. That's filled time. Again, kindness of strangers or the system itself for the kids to get the food necessary. The adults will struggle with whatever they've got. It's not hearing the stories, it's seeing the stories firsthand. You think it's a joke or a lark until you've actually walked among them. You see the faces. You see the looks. You hear the stomachs. You see the survival. Sometimes you see the desperation. Why is a guy like me talking about shit like this? Why not? Because I don't think anybody else is scared. I don't think anybody else around here knows what it's like to be without food. Be without utilities, to be without a roof over the head, or shoes on the feet, or clothes, at least clean clothes. I don't think they understand what survival is all about, unless they've been there, walked through it, and was totally embarrassed by it. It's embarrassing because you have to tell people about it and ask for help. Our pride, our ego, ourselves get in the way. We can't ask for help because we are too damn stuck in ourselves and our problem in order to tell the other person, look, we need help. Can you help? And getting burned too many times when people said no. Get too callous over it, you get too distraught, and you feel like you're a worthless piece of crap. It's easy enough for some of the other people talking about it without people actually listening to it. I mean, I've heard other people who have actually been of influence. They have money, they have notoriety, they have whatever the hell they got. And they try to make that point clear. And I'm looking at them like, no, not posted for it, posted for it. Okay, so let's take a picture of a homeless person over here and show that to them. And tell that to the people in phones. I mean, it's too damn easy to do that, isn't it? Stick a homeless person in front of the camera and watch them either wither away or something. Best living crap out of them. We have been taught all our lives to be self-reliant. We have been taught not to cave in or give in. We have been taught to fight like crazy. We've been taught a hell of a lot of shit that sometimes are just wrong. And proven wrong. Sometimes it's not easy to admit it to ourselves. I may look like a person of influence or of wealth. I have. A large gut, which means I may be having enough money for food all the damn time to feed the gut. Sometimes it isn't that, it's just medical. Medical stuff going out of control that I hadn't taken care of in years. So now it's about to kill me. I wear these shabbily clothes on here because sometimes it's expensive to get the clothes necessary to fit a large body. In our throwaway culture, if you're not young and you're not fit, you're screwed. Of course, I see all the damn advertisements for elder people trying to show how well they look in such fine attire. Fuck that shit, show the real people. People have to wear cut-out jeans or holy stuff. Sometimes it's manufactured that way, but others it isn't because they've been falling down too many damn times, scraping their legs up. It's bad enough going into a damn county system and looking like you're piece of trash coming from. And yeah, I felt like it too. Been there, done that. That's fun. It was also not fun seeing people looking at me with such disdain in their eyes. Some of them tried to feign concern and expression, but the others just don't. You see it at glint. That's how they glint. They give a shit. I'm lucky enough right now that I have a roof over my head. I have power. That's it. There's it. I've got necessities. I don't have a car. I have a floor. Right? Salvaged as much as we could, my brother and I, before we were totally locked out and had had to give up the U-Haul, put other stuff in storage. And this place was available. We got it. Got some of the stuff out of storage. What's left of it in here. Everything else was in there. And then because of mismanagement, we lost it. All the other extra stuff that we actually had. So all the stuff we grew up with, collected, cherished, gone. It hurts sometimes. But I have to keep thinking they're just things. Just throwaways aren't. Some things just don't have that characteristic of being thrown away. I guess they still are. After living in discarded areas, being a discard myself, some things are needed and other things I'm not quite sure anymore. As it's starting to get more and more light outside, more activity is going over to Edwards Air Force Base. People working their asses off for the government. Must be nice having a job. Gets even worse when you start losing it. Gets even worse when you're starting to need more help than what you can. I had to make this video. I had to tell something about my story. My life. I had to tell somebody about what it's like to live out there in the streets. You wake up in the morning, you're cold as hell. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you're being shoved by law enforcement. Move aside, move along. Find somewhere to sleep. No other beds available. Shelters, man. You can't sleep in shelters. Because you don't know who's going to be robbing you blind. You wake up stark naked. Shoes, loose coats, gloves, everything. You trust. You don't trust, period. You get your own damn tent and you find an isolated, secluded spot. The only thing you have to worry about is the elements and also about the insects and the wildlife. Oh yeah, and the sheriff's department with the spotlight. Maybe coming into the home and just seeing what's going on and tell you gotta leave. Certain areas that they don't allow it because of ordinances are county places in Los Angeles. County property. They can't kick you off for being homeless. They don't encourage you to camp there, but some people actually do. Sleep there for a few hours and then wake up and get the hell out. Unless they're going to get roused by county workers or law enforcement telling them to move. It's hard to live and deal with that kind of life. It's hard enough to go into a bathroom wash yourself up. One would hope to go over to a resource center to find a shower stall, a washing machine. Look a little piece of around. If you think it's easy enough to talk about stuff, so you try living it. And then you try putting it down. It's not all that easy and not a lot of fun. I don't have any laughable stories. There are no humorous stories I know of being out there in the streets. It's hard to tell to talk about it anyway. But and they're sharing.